Mr. Trump was confused with this, and he was referring some snowfall somewhere as a that there is no change in the climate, but that is not correct. And therefore, I thought let us make it very clear in the beginning that these are the two different things, and we should be very clear about it. Well, yesterday we have discussed very clearly that modern lifestyle is becoming more and more energy dependent, and we are using a lot of energy. So literally a lot of energy that we are using. That is what we also discussed yesterday. And every minute of our life, every minute every minute of our time, every square inch of space around us has a touch of energy. And knowingly or unknowingly, we consume a lot of energy. So that is the takeaway message that I wanted to give yesterday. Today we will continue on this discussion, and I will tell you how much it is affecting, how much this energy use is affecting, how much energy we are using actually, how much it is affecting the climate change, and how much change has happened. That is what we are going to see this. All right. One thing is very clear that we are observing, that as the time is growing, our GDP is growing all over the world. GDP is growing. Somewhere it is growing faster, somewhere it is growing slower, but GDP is growing. Though the GDP is growing, but at the same time, there is absolutely no doubt that the nature is degrading. And what is the nature? Everything around us, the air, the water, soil, river, forest, all elements of nature are degrading. Now, it doesn't look or doesn't sound very intelligent way of doing it, that one side you try to increase GDP, more production, more consumption, more earning, but you degrade your own nature, air, water, soil, river. And this nature is where we live in. Air is what we breathe, water is what we drink, soil is where we grow our food. And if the nature is degrading, which means our life supporting system, the elements of the life support system are degrading. And if the nature degrades, we cannot live without. By the way, the nature can live without us. Nature is fine, perfectly fine. If humans are not there tomorrow, doesn't matter. There are other animals and creatures on this planet. Once upon a time, there were dinosaurs on this planet, and they are not there anymore. So today there are humans on this planet, and tomorrow the humans, if they are not there, it doesn't matter to the nature. So nature doesn't need us, we need nature. So if GDP is increasing and if nature is degrading, there is something terribly wrong that we are doing. And there is something terribly wrong in this world. And because of these actions, the nature is losing its balance. And the very fine balance, it has made after millions and millions of years. Remember, once upon a time, the entire planet was underwater. Once upon a time, the entire planet was under the ice cover. So the nature has gone through these ups and downs. And after millions of years, it has created that perfect balance where humans can live, where humans can survive, where humans can grow and nurture themselves. But because of the human water, the technological advancement, we have created air quality index, and the air quality is supposed to be less than 50 for a good healthy life. But many cities in India and many other countries, the air quality index is more than 100, 150, 200, 300. Sometime in Delhi, the air quality index goes to 400, 450, 500. Imagine, the very same air you cannot live without breathing for more than a minute. You have destroyed and polluted it so much that the air quality index goes 150, 200 in almost every city. We have cut down our forests by 33%. Forests are lungs of the planet, and without lungs we cannot live. We have cut down 33.3% forest on this planet. 1.5 billion hectares of forest has been cut down. Can you imagine how much damage that we, the modern humans, are causing. There is a problem with the water, another important element that we need to survive. Almost 4 billion people suffer from water distress at least a month in a year, and 500 million people suffer throughout the year. That is the condition. So these are the very basic element without which human life is not possible. But we, the modern human, have been destroying it and damaging it and degrading it. 33% of the soil has already degraded. It is behaving like a mud. It is not soil anymore. You can't grow things there. It has already lost its balance because of the excessive chemicals that we use. So why this all degradation is happening? Because we use energy. And there is no doubt that the energy use is the reason behind degradation. Everywhere, every time we use more energy, it results in some negative effect. But as we discussed yesterday, energy is good. We need energy because energy is everything. And these are the Sustainable Development Goals, 17 of them. And the center of the Sustainable Development Goal is energy. And as we consume more energy, it results in a more better social and economic parameter. But there is another goal, that is SDG 13. And SDG 13 is climate change. That is what we are going to discuss today. The problem of the world is that our so-called social and economic growth is in contradiction with the climate change. And why? Because every time we grow, we need energy. But every time we use energy, there is a climate change. So these are opposite trends. The more energy use results in a growth and social and economic growth, but more energy use also resulting in a climate change. So these are the problems of opposite trends. There are opposite contradictory problems. How do we solve it? What technology to use, what to do it? And in fact, I keep saying that this is such a big problem that it is becoming a threat to the human existence. And anybody who can solve this problem will not get one Nobel Prize, but should get bunch of Nobel Prizes. This is such a big problem. So the global warming, climate change, and growth is opposite. And why it is opposite? Because unfortunately, entire energy that consumed we use today, 80 to 85% energy comes from three sources: coal, oil, and gas. 80 to 85%. There is hydro energy, and there is a biomass energy, and wind energy, and solar energy, nuclear energy. You'll be surprised to know that 80 to 85% of our energy requirements comes from these three sources: coal, oil, and gas. So what is the problem? The problem is the coal, the oil, and gas are made out of carbon. The basic element there is a carbon. And the problem is when we burn carbon with the oxygen, it results in carbon dioxide. When do we burn carbon? When we are cooking in our kitchen, we are using LPG, we are burning carbon and resulting in carbon dioxide. When we are using our vehicles and traveling, we are burning petrol and diesel, we are resulting in a carbon dioxide emission. When we are using electricity, we are burning coal somewhere and it is resulting in carbon dioxide. So the problem today is that yes, we need energy, but these energy sources are mainly the carbon based, the fossil based. And as a result of that, we are responsible for emitting a very significant amount of carbon dioxide. And it is so significant that the entire balance, entire concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has changed. And this graph in front of you is the graph of carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere for last 1,000 years. And the concentration measured in terms of ppm, parts per million. So the concentration of carbon dioxide used to be around 280 ppm, 280 parts per million. 280 ppm used to be the concentration, but because of the human activities, because of the burning, excessive burning of the fossil fuel, the carbon dioxide concentration is increasing, but it is increasing exponentially. Look at the last 50 years, last 60, 70 years, the carbon dioxide concentration in the atmosphere is increased exponentially. And today, the CO2 concentration is about 415 to 420 ppm. 15 to 420 ppm, there is about 48% extra carbon dioxide that is sitting in the atmosphere, which was not there earlier. Which earlier time we are talking about? Just from 1850, before 1850s. Before industrialization, our atmosphere was perfectly in balance. Our climate was constant. But after 1850s, we learned to use fossil fuel, and it is resulting in excessive emission of carbon dioxide, which is resulting in a global warming and climate change. So has really the climate changed? How do we know this? Has the climate changed? Answer, I already told you, yes, change. But let us look at more closely and become clear without any ambiguity that yes, climate has changed. So what has happened? CO2 is a greenhouse gas. And what does it do? It results in a greenhouse effect. What is a greenhouse effect? Causing global warming. And the global warming is causing climate change. So this average heating of the planet is resulting in the imbalance in the climatic conditions. And therefore we say that the climate is changing. Climate has changed. So the global warming is happening, and without doubt it is happening. There is warmer by about 1.1 degrees centigrade on an average. This is the average number. So on an average, world has become warmer by 1.1 degrees centigrade. And this has clearly happened because of the carbon dioxide emission, because there's a linear correlation between amount of CO2 in the atmosphere and the global warming. And by the way, we need carbon dioxide because some amount of carbon dioxide is required to get some warmth on this planet. Otherwise, the human life would have been impossible. So it is just a right balance of 280 ppm that was required. But because of our activities, it has now become 420 ppm. As a result of that, the world has become warmer by about 1.1 degrees centigrade. And as a result of this, what has happened? The various elements of the climate, which is the temperature, the precipitation, the wind, humidity, atmospheric pressure, radiation, all change. But the temperature has caused major change. As a result of that, various element of the climate is also changing. For example, look at this chart. This chart is from last about 35 years, almost 40 years now, but the chart is for 35 years. This is actually the sum of the events that has taken place, the frequency of the event that is taking place in last 35 years, 40 years. So it is divided in three categories: climatological events, which is extreme temperatures, droughts and forest fires; hydrological events, which is flood and mass movement; meteorological events, which is tropical, extratropical, convective and local storms. So how many such events are taking place on this planet? And this has been recorded in the last 35 years. This graph is from 1980 to 214. And what you clearly see is that in 1980s, there used to be about 290 such events, but it has started increasing. And by 2014, the 290 event has increased to 904 events every single year. Imagine in 2020, this number would have been much higher. So what is happening? There are more extreme temperatures, there are more droughts, there are more forest fires, there are more floods. Everything is happening more and more. And that is what the climate change is all about. Climate change is the loss of balance of the nature. And the loss of balance happens, what does it mean? Sometimes there'll be heat wave, sometimes there'll be cold wave, sometimes there'll be flood, sometimes there'll be a drought, sometimes there'll be forest fire, sometimes there'll be snowfall in desert kind of conditions. All this kind of erratic weather patterns will happen. That is what scientists have been predicting. And you can clearly see from the last 35-40 years that this erratic weather pattern has been increasing in terms of magnitude, and they have been increasing in terms of frequency. So both magnitude and frequency of the erratic weather pattern is increasing. So what is the current situation? What is happening? And I would particularly, I will not go long back in the history, or long back means last 5 years and 10 years. Just look at what is happening right now on our planet. On our planet, everywhere. It is not a question of one country or one state. Everywhere on the planet, and just look at last 2 months what has happened. Floods in Japan. When I'm talking about just 2 days back, 1 day back, 15th August 2021, 2 million people are evacuated. 2 million people. Imagine the kind of floods that is taking place in Japan. August 12, 2021, forest fire in Italy, Russia. Many places, are blazing. And how much is the forest fire burning? Millions and millions of acres. And the temperature is rising and is going on. In Italy, the temperature is even in Sicily has recorded about almost like 49 degrees centigrade. Can you imagine? Europe is a cold continent. Temperature going to 49 degrees centigrade. Even in India, it is very difficult to imagine temperature going to 49 degrees centigrade. But this is happening. This is not long back. I'm talking about just 6 days back from now. 4 days, 5 days back from now. This is happening in Italy. By the way, the northern Italy, there were floods. And in the southern Italy, there are forest fires. At the same time, in the same country. This is what is climate change. Look at this. Deadly floods in Turkey. 1,700 people evacuated. Look, and from the picture itself, it actually shows what is happening. In Canada, 29 June 2021, right? Not long ago, just 2 months ago, there is a city called Lytton. In this city, where the temperatures, as I'm showing here, the normal temperature in the city, maximum temperature was around 15 degree, 16, 17, 20 degrees centigrade. In the city, temperature went to 49.6 degrees centigrade. Can you believe it? And it stayed like that for a couple of days, and 800 plus people died out of the heat waves. Very recent, just 2 months ago. 12th July 2021 in India, Dharamshala, heavy floods, and many people died out of the floods. And just a couple of days before this flood, many people died out of the thunderstorm. Unbelievable. Almost 80 people in single day in India died out of the thunderstorm. That is what is changing. This is not a war scene, by the way. This is not war. This is a picture of Germany, 15 July 2021, 100 plus people died due to the floods. This is what is taking place across the world. China, 21st July 21, right? Average rainfall has fallen in just 3 days. Yes, average rainfall is just fallen 3 days. 200,000 people evacuated. And I have seen terrible videos from the country. So I hope, and this is Australia last year, where 25 million acres of forest got burned. Of course, our memories are still fresh when the Amazon fire was burning in California. The forests are burning everywhere. So what I'm saying, there should not be any doubt in anybody's mind that the climate has not changed and it is a hoax. It is right there in front of us. We can imagine, we can not imagine, we can see it right in front of our eyes that it is all happening everywhere in the planet. There is no part of the planet where such erratic events are not taking place. Now the next question is, how much change has happened? Yes, it is changing. How much change has happened? And it is very clear that the human activities are changing. How much change has happened? As I said earlier, the global temperatures have been rising, and the global temperature of 1.1 degrees centigrade has already happened. By the way, these are average temperature, and do not be surprised that somewhere the average temperature in local area goes 5 degrees centigrade above normal, 10 degrees centigrade above normal. Last year, for quite some time, the average temperature in Russia, in the northern part, Siberia, the average temperature in some regions was 5 degrees centigrade above normal for almost 6 months. And there are a couple of months where the average temperature was 10 degrees centigrade above normal. So when we say 1.1 degrees centigrade, it is average taken across the world. But local conditions can be warmer or cooler. Typically, it is going to be warmer because average is above 1.1 degrees centigrade. Somewhere it can be cooler also. And do not get mistaken that that is not a climate change. The very same effect of the climate change is the loss of balance in the natural weather system. And that loss of balance can result in a cooling somewhere, drought somewhere, flood somewhere, forest somewhere. All right. What else is happening? Because of the climate change and the average global temperature increase, there's a global rise in the sea level, and continuously sea level rising. And there are many cities, including cities in Mumbai and Chennai, many cities, just wait for another 20, 30 years. Significant portion of these cities are going to be submerged, significant portion, just another 20, 30 years. Indonesia, the city capital of Indonesia, Jakarta, is right on the coast and at the low level. And Jakarta, and the Indonesian government is going to spend some $3 billion to displace the entire capital to some other location. And tomorrow, when I'm going to discuss what happens to the national development when the climate change becomes more and more severe, we will discuss that the cost of correcting the climate change is going to be much, much higher than the cost of preventing it. And that we are going to discuss tomorrow. So the average sea level is rising, and it is rising with the rate of 3.3 millimeter per year. Wake up, realize the sea is enormous, it's a vast. Atha samudra hai, uska bhi level बढ़ रहा है. How dangerous the humans have become on this planet. 3.3 millimeter per year is the rise in sea level. What else is happening? The ice caps are melting. The ice caps are melting at the rate of very high, and out of about 7 to 8 million square kilometer of ice caps, 3.5 million square kilometer of ice caps have melted. 3.5 million square kilometer. And these are important for many river systems. These are important for very natural system to keep its balance. We need to ensure that our ice caps are intact. But it is estimated that with this rate, if the ice cap melting will continue, not long after now, 10 years to maybe 12 years, 15 years, there will not be any ice left on the northern pole in the summer situation, in the summer times. There will not be any ice cap. Can you believe that there will be a planet? We always see the planet from outside with two ice caps, a northern ice cap and southern ice cap, Arctic and Antarctic ice caps. But 10 to 12, maybe 15 years from now, there will not be any ice left in the summer in the northern pole. That is really terrible. So how does the future look like? And this is what is today. How does the future look like? Definitely not very bright until unless we make major changes. And I told you how much time is, I'll show you how much time is left. So the climate scientists keep saying us that we need to stop global warming ideally to 1.5 degrees centigrade, if not 2 degrees centigrade. And there is a report called Global Warming of 1.5 degrees centigrade. This report is brought up by IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, in 2018. And this report says very clearly that we need to stop ideally the global warming to 1.5 degrees centigrade, if not 2 degrees centigrade. So if there is one single number that is important for the entire humanity, it is the 1.5 degrees centigrade. The most important number for humanity today is 1.5 degrees centigrade. For entire humanity, it is important. Why? Because once we cross this 1.5 degrees centigrade mark, the change in the climate is going to be irreversible. And by the way, climate is not one. There are several elements of the climate. There is a water system, there is a sea ecosystem, and there is an ice ecosystem, there's a forest ecosystem, there's a rivers ecosystem, animal ecosystem. All there are many ecosystems, and a different increase in the global warming, a different ecosystem are going to cross the tipping points, after which they will not be able to come back and correct it. So therefore, 1.5 degrees centigrade is very important. It is like a Lakshman Rekha. Once you cross this line, you will not be able to return back. So we need to limit global warming to ideally 1.5 degrees centigrade, if not at most 2 degrees centigrade, by the time entire ecosystem, entire the climate change will become. So how much time is left and how does the future look like? How much time is left? Well, the amount of time left depends on the rate of carbon emission, the amount of carbon that you're emitting. And by the way, the right now, you will be shocked to know and note this, that the rate of carbon dioxide emission is about 1.3 million kilograms of carbon dioxide emission per second, 1,332 tons of carbon dioxide emission per second.
अरे तैयारी कर रही हूँ, मेरे को ठीक नहीं लगता ना, तो मैं इसी से
Can we please mute ourselves?
इसलिए मेरे को थोड़ा सा एकदम घबराहट लगता है बुखार आने से पहले.
Jagriti ji, can you mute yourself, please?
घबराहट फिर घबराती हूँ बहुत जल्दी, फिर पटियाऊँ नहीं.
Amita, the host, can you guys mute them all? You mute her.
अभी से मत बना, ठंडा हो जाएगा तो, और रात को भूख लगेगी मेरे को, क्या पता अभी नहीं सोऊंगी, अभी ठीक हूँ, स्वस्थ हूँ.
There has to be a tab. You could just mute them all. Mute us all.
फोन बनाएगा तो बात करना पड़ेगा.
I'm trying to mute her, but then I think it is. Jagriti ji, can you please mute yourself?
Click on participants on the bottom. Participants, they will have an option mute all. You can mute there everyone. At least you can click.
Chetan ji, since you are the host, you can remove her, please.
I'm trying to do that, but for some reason I'm not able to. I mean, it says mute option, but it is not muting. Anyway, thanks to Jagrati ji. I hope she is feeling good now. So you'll be surprised and shocked to know that the rate of carbon emission per second is 1,300 tons. That is 1.3 million kilogram of carbon dioxide is emitted every single second. What does it mean? It means that by the time I start speaking a sentence and complete a sentence, about 10 million kilograms of carbon dioxide is already emitted. By the time I finish this lecture, imagine the kind of carbon dioxide within that duration has happened. So there is what is called the carbon budget. How much budget is left? How much carbon dioxide we can still emit in the atmosphere? And why there is a carbon budget? Because there is a linear correlation almost between the amount of carbon dioxide that exists in the atmosphere and the global warming. That's a linear correlation. So it's very easy to estimate how much more carbon dioxide we can emit before we touch 1.5 degrees centigrade. So as of 2021, the amount of carbon budget left is about 270 billion ton. 270 billion ton. So with the rate of 1,332 tons per second, if you multiply with the number of seconds in a year, you will get about 42 billion tons. So 42 billion tons of carbon dioxide is emitted every year. And how much budget is left for 1.5 degrees centigrade? 270 billion ton.
नहीं लाऊंगी घर से जहाँ पूरा दाल बड़ी वगैरह लाऊंगी.
Yes, sir. Sorry for interruption. Renu here. Professor Chetan, sir, can I get host access? I'm from the team.
Well, I'm just going to finish it. Just let me do, I hope.
Yeah, I guess Jagriti is muted. Yes, sir, you can go.
I have removed her. Okay. So I'm so sorry. So basically remove the remaining carbon budget left is only 270 billion ton. Per year emission is about 42 billion ton. So you can figure out yourself how much time is left before we touch 1.5 degrees centigrade. For 2 degrees centigrade, there is 1,050 billion tons, and you can imagine how much time is left. So basically, this time left is shown by what is called the climate clock. There are communities in the world where the climate clock is displayed and it is running live and it is clicking live. And what I'm showing you here is that as of the time when I've taken this screenshot was on 17th July. Okay, so not long ago, last month when I've taken this screenshot, that time the number of days left before we are going to touch 1.5 degrees centigrade is 6 years and 167 days only. So as of today, it is already 1 month gone. We are talking about 6 years and 137 days only. So we do not have a lot of time. The time has already run. The climate change is a serious and very severe. And not only it is serious and severe, it is becoming a threat to the human existence. It is becoming threat to the existence of human life on this planet. So we really do not have much time left. And I hope all of us wake up and realize that we are the one who has caused climate change. Who has done it? Some people blame industry, some people blame, government is not doing proper policy, and industry is not doing it. Is the industry where emission takes place, it is agriculture where it takes place. But everything is all of us. We use those products from industry. We use products in our domestic. We travel. I am the one who is responsible for all this mess that we have created, and therefore I must be the one who is going to solve it. And time left is really not much. It is becoming an existential threat. Dalai Lama has famously quoted last year. He said, more and more people are realizing that the existence of humanity on the planet is at stake, and only doing prayers and pranayams and yoga is not going to be enough. We need to take some action. And if you're not going to take an action, the cost to the nation is going to be enormous. And sometimes the entire nation will fail, which I'm going to discuss tomorrow. So with this note, I would say, wake up and ask some questions. We are at the end of this talk today. Thank you very much for your attention today also. I hope we will have a beautiful discussion in the remaining times. So thank you very much. And I'm going to stop my presentation here. Thanks a lot.
Actually, Chetan sir, this calculations and so much in detail, I definitely was not aware of. I don't know about other participants. Maybe a couple of them might be aware of, but this is scary. The 6 year, 172 days, it's like something is going to happen. So this actually, while you were discussing on this, I was trying to recollect, Chetanji. While India was, Bharat was known as Sone ki Chidiya, that time we never had any industrialization. And still, our GDP was 23% of the world GDP. And that time also people were surviving. So I was just trying to understand, one side we say industrialization has helped us a lot, but then at what cost? The presentation which you shared, Chetanji, is really it should not only called eye opener, it should be eye opener, it should be brain opener, and I mean this will open up a lot of plethora, I will say, for people to wake up and start understanding where and what needs to be changed at individual level, at least to begin with. I remember Anga Korvat, this I will give example sometime later, but Anga Korvat also, we only right now see a temple over there, but it was a huge civilization, vanished. And nobody came to know why and how it went, though remains are still there over there. So Chetanji, while we work upon this, I actually wanted to understand the first question you have already answered, because I was going to ask you, has the climate change already happened? And you exactly gave example of Germany, Italy, China, that it's already happening. Especially Italy in south, there is flood, and in north there is fire going on. So this is scary. So my question here will be, what can we do at war footing to be climate change ready, Chetanji?
Well, it is indeed scary, it is indeed scary. And sooner we realize that it is happening, we are not in denial mode. We understand the depth of it. We understand the severity of it. sooner we will be able to take action. So it is scary and it is actually happening right in front of our eyes. Now, what can we do to make ourselves climate change ready? Well, there is a saying that prevention is always better than the cure. So let us prevent it rather than thinking about how I'm going to cure it. So if we can still take appropriate action, and if we can still limit global warming, first of all, below 1.5 degrees centigrade, and then reverse the change. That is what we need to do. And you made a wonderful point, Bhatnagarji, that this is an illusion that more of a comfort, more of a material that we use is going to make our life better. If that has been the case, I keep asking, the GDP all over the world and many places, and let's say India has been increasing with 5%, 6%. And you ask people, what happens if GDP increases? What is the outcome? Why GDP? What is the outcome of GDP increase? People say the prosperity increases, And then I keep saying that, okay, GDP is increasing with 5% and 6%, 7%. Is it resulting in a smile increase also with the 5% and 6%? It is not increasing, isn't it? With the GDP is increasing, smiles are decreasing, depression is increasing, violence is increasing, nature is degrading. What does it mean? That this is complete illusion that this GDP's growth is helping human to live the life that we want to live. And ultimately, from a philosophical angle, yesterday I told you, we have to be philosophical in our life. Otherwise, we are going to behave like headless chickens. So from the philosophical angle, it doesn't need, and it is illusion completely that this GDP is actually helping us. And we were Sone ki Chidiya earlier, and with the localized economy and with the sync with the nature, we can still very good living for everyone, comfortable life for everyone, and more enjoyable life for everyone. Now, what can we do to make ourselves climate change ready? Well, कारणों के कारण को हटा दो. What is the cause behind the change? Remove the cause. And the cause behind this climate change is carbon, burning of carbon, burning of coal, burning of petrol, burning of diesel, burning of LPG. So what you do is remove this cause. Stop using coal, petrol, diesel, LPG, CNG as soon as possible. Do it today. The IPCC tells us that we need to make a drastic and immediate change in the energy use pattern. What is required? We need drastic and immediate change in the energy use pattern. So what is drastic change? Remove it, completely stop it. And when we need to do it? Immediately, right now. Until unless we follow these two terms, drastic and immediate change, there is absolutely no way we would be able to mitigate the climate change. And as I'm going to discuss tomorrow, the price that we are going to pay is going to be much, much, much higher than the price that we will pay right now to correct it and take appropriate action. So I hope the sense will prevail in this world, and our leaders, our policymakers, and we individual take a right step, go through the cleaner energy, go towards 100% solar energy, surrender electricity connection. That is what is the best solution I offer to people. Surrender, disconnect yourself from the grid, start living 100% solar powered life today. And then you will understand the precious value of the energy that we use. Then we will understand that how easy and simple it is to live in sync with the nature without affecting the nature and without damaging the nature. That is what I believe, Bhatnagarji, is the way forward. Live in the sync with the nature. Bring back solar energy, the center of your life once again. Before 1850s, our life used to run on solar energy, 100%. It's only in the last 150 years we learned how to use coal, petrol, diesel. What we need to do right now is bring back sun energy as the center of our existence once again. Let us base entire life on the solar energy. Then I believe there will be a chance to mitigate the climate change, and we will be able to live sustainably for a long, long time.
Thank you, Chetanji. There is a question from Soumya ji, and very pertinent question. She is connecting energy with plastic products. So what she is saying is a lot of energy is used in production of plastic products. Today, plastic is one of the causes, means everybody knows about this. example what she gives is electricity. We started saving electricity by using LED bulbs, but again, then the bulbs were made from plastic. Some part of that is made from plastic. So by solving one, I think yesterday you gave this example only. By which we solve one problem, we create two more problems after that. So what she is saying, can we imagine a plastic-free future for our planet, and how energy can be better utilized in this?
Well, I mean, of course, there are many problems for the. There are many reasons for the problems that we are facing today, and the use of plastic is terrible. We see how much damage we are causing to the fellow species on this planet, and when there are dirty waters, and so basically, yes, plastic should be avoided and removed immediately. And some plastic we may have to use it, and as I told yesterday, that there is always a kind of a tolerance limit. So yes, let us do it within the tolerance limit, and wait for my last lecture, where I'm going to give you the way forward. What is the way forward to mitigate the climate change? How we all can live. But that I'm going to discuss in detail the philosophy behind it, the approach behind it on the last lecture. But I agree with Soumya that yes, we need to drastically and immediately minimize the use of plastic, because plastic is ultimately the carbon fuels. It comes from the carbon.
Yeah. Chetan, there is a question from Ramu Badole. What he is saying that, as you mentioned here, tribal life was much better, or it is a better way to overcome these things. Can you elaborate on that point?
Hi Ramu, very happy to see you. I don't know where are you. I can't see on the screen. Ramu is my batchmate, by the way. We studied together and we lived together. We did engineering together. Where are you, Ramu? I can't see you. But anyway,
Ramuji,
basically.
Ramuji, you can ask your question directly.
I can see him. Hi. So basically, what happens? Let me answer this little with the philosophy, and I think the point will become clear what we are looking for. So when I was doing my PhD in Europe, one sent came to Europe and Belgium, and he said, I want to talk to the student, and he said, yes, we would also like to talk. So we were sitting, and he asked, what are you doing? And we said, we are doing PhD. Very proudly said. I said, okay, very nice. Why are you doing research? And we said, we want to help society, and we want to learn science and technology. He said, nonsense. You're not doing it. Tell me honestly. He said, you are doing PhD because you want to get a good job. And we said, yeah, that is of course truth. And he said, okay, fine, you want to do good job. Why do you want to do good job? Why? And we said, Anna, again, we want to serve society, and we want to serve our country, and this and that. He again said, nonsense. You are not going to, you don't want good job because you want to serve society. You want good job because you want good salary. And of course, there is a truth in it. And we said, yes, of course. So he said, look, you are studying, you're doing research because you want a good job. You want good job because you want a good salary. He said, why do you want a good salary? Why? And he said, and we said, we want to buy something, we want to buy a house, and we want to buy a good car. He said, okay, fine. I give a lot of money. I give 1 crore rupees to each of your account. And I also give you one house and one car, but there's a condition. What is the condition? That you cannot use this house and car and money. This time it was our turn to say nonsense. I said, what nonsense? We want all this money and house and everything so that we can use it. He said, use karne se kya hota hai? What happens if when he uses this? He said, we feel good about it, isn't it? He said, the whole purpose of doing everything, studying hard, getting good job and get the salary and have the money and then buy the house and the car is to just feel good about it. There are very simpler ways to feel good about it, isn't it? You feel good, right? There are very simple, you work for others, you contribute others, you help others, you feel good about it, isn't it? So what I'm saying is, this whole way the so-called Maya, that the material that we going to gather and accumulate in our life is going to give us happiness and pleasure does not happen. If that was the case, our GDP is increasing, but smiles are decreasing, right? So coming back to your question, Ramu, that earlier lifestyle where we used to live in sync with the nature, we used to derive the food from the nature, we were sleeping with the time, when the dark, we were waking up. That was the time when we are completely synchronized. And people were happy. Look at the earlier times. If you ask people, is this development of science and technology and economy last 30, 40 years, has it made human life simpler or difficult? Simple question. Is the human life become simpler in last 30, 40 years, or it has become difficult? Invariably, but Nagarji, people tell me that it has become difficult. If it has become difficult, the stupid wake up and why are you doing the difficult task? Why are you working so hard to increase your GDP? It is anyway making your life difficult. Without that also we are happy and enjoying the life, isn't it? So let us understand philosophically what do we need. And if you understand from that perspective, you will realize that all these materials and which is called Maya in our Indian scriptures is not going to give you that happiness that we are looking for. And therefore, the moment you realize, you will see that living in the nature, with the nature, in sync with the nature is always going to be more enjoyable, more beautiful, and comfortable than we can in living in concrete jungles and air-conditioned rooms and refrigerated vegetables and all kind of polluted air. It is never going to be giving you what you're looking for. Our 30, 40 years of experience of last 30, 40 years should be enough to tell us what I'm telling, what I'm telling you, that it is not going to give you that thing that you're looking for.
Right, Chetanji. Pushpita ji has a question of missing the bus already. I think that we have already discussed upon, so we will move on. VSR would like to understand how digital technologies like AI, ML, blockchain, IoT could be of help to reduce the impact. Chetanji.
VSR I always smile on this question because people say artificial intelligence, let us use this to solve the problem. I would say, let us, use your natural intelligence to the fullest, and then you work about the artificial intelligence. Our natural intelligence itself is in a bad shape. What do we do with the artificial intelligence? I don't think that these are all going to create a problem. Any science and